Hi everyone, welcome back to another exciting edition of PITT, Product Innovation Think Tank. If you are new here, PITT is User Pilot's collaborative magazine. It's a conversation hub where product leaders challenge ideas, share real insights, and push the boundaries of what's possible in product development. But we don't just drop articles and disappear. We bring the minds behind them into the spotlight to go deeper, ask questions, and extract some practical, no nonsense takeaways for all of you. And today we are tackling a question that has everyone in the product and research world buzzing. Should user research be left at the mercy of AI? So, with all this automation creeping into every corner of our work, from analytics to customer support, it's only a matter of time before AI starts influencing how we understand our users. But can AI really replace user researchers? Will it make our jobs easier, or will we end up with shallow, biased insights that miss the nuance of human behavior? So that's what we are diving into today. And to break it all down for us, we have the perfect guest. So please welcome Bart Jaworski. I'm gonna bring you on stage, Bart. It's great to have you here. Before we get into the questions, maybe tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and what led you to write this article. What was the aha moment that made you say, I need to talk about this?
Hi, I'm Dr. Bart. I am product management content creator. I create courses, posts, and lots of other things. And blog posts are one of them. And I had an immense pleasure to write to PTT about whether user agents will replace user research in the future. And the aha moment was actually when Satya Nadella said that he foresees a future where SaaS is gone and we only interact with AI agents, that do all the work for us. And it was like, will it happen? And I started thinking, I started looking at it from my product management day-to-day life examples, because I'm a content creator, but I also do real life product management on a full-time position. Don't ask me how I do it all. I'm still wondering when do I sleep. But the truth is that with that, I am able to see what's going on in real company, not just like feel it, and see what are the problems that AI can solve and problems that they probably can't solve. So I started thinking about it, analyzing what Satya said and how realistic this is. And like with many bold statements, there's probably a grain of truth, but there's also a little bit of uh, over oversimplification here. And like, in at least in my opinion, it's not as sure of a future that the statement suggested. Maybe it's just because it was sometimes misquoted, or it's not what he meant. But saying that SaaS will be completely eliminated and AI agents will only talk to one another is going slightly too far with it. And
True.
user research is this crucial piece of discovery that very often we as product managers really need, because making the right decision on what will work for the product, what's the best investment for getting the value we want, is so hard. We only have so few developers and even fewer researchers. So there's this element of prioritization. What do I think I need to build? I have few ideas and I have none which will work and which will not. And to that, I have my product user UX discovery scientists who are having backlogs bigger than mine. And like fighting to get their time is hard, and waiting is hard. And the more you wait before making a decision, the more likely is that you will do it too late, and your great idea will be met by the time it will be verified to a point where you want to invest in it. And current speed of development, a good idea today is a lost idea 3 months later. So, do you do the discovery and wait? Do you forego the discovery and the risk that your idea is bad? But here
Yeah,
is where I
we'll cover that.
picture those AI agents. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks for the intro, Bart. I think you covered a lot, though. So
Mhm.
I want to dive into the questions right away if you're okay with that. So, yeah, I'm going to mention some stuff from your article and bring some questions for you. So, you mentioned that AI can handle about 80 to 90% of user research tasks, but
Mhm.
still requires some human intervention. So, given the rapid evolution of AI, do you believe that researchers will eventually be replaced, or will their roles simply evolve? What will this like new role look like in your opinion?
I think it will evolve to a sort of maybe a supervisor, or like a person who needs to translate the AI output to something more tangible, better understood, something that will be actually used to make a decision. Of course, with time, AI will likely get better at it and fewer supervision will be needed. But at the end of the day, we have not have, and for probably the foreseeable future won't have, generalized, well, how is it called? The NGI. Um, oh, the level human intellect AI, which could probably replace humans, but without now the best LLMs still need a prompt, still need to verify, still need to check whether there is no hallucinations. Did you get what you wanted? Does it make sense? Does it help you? There's still lots of questions, but that doesn't mean that AI is useless. No, it can save so much time. And frankly, I wrote this article before the deep research function popped up on OpenAI, which probably would have changed my article. And here, hmm, maybe it wouldn't change it too much because it gives a lot of consultants, like from Big Four or any consultants, if you around
Oh,
for the money, where they need to prove the human value against the AI. But still, time will tell.
mhm.
I lost my. I think I went too far in the tree of discussion. 80%. Okay. What will happen with UI researchers? I think we are still in the zone where you can easily say that UI researchers using AI will simply replace those who don't. That's the gist of it. Their
Mhm.
role will change to like probably being a manager of a set hundreds, thousands, who knows, AI workers that will do a lot of work for you, that will help scaling the whole process, that will help to put scale. And we no longer will choose between quantitative and qualitative research, but instead we can have a hybrid of both. And imagine if you have AIs that call users and ask them questions in a way that resonates. That doesn't happen in tens or 20 calls, but it happens in 10,000 calls if you only have people to call. And then another AI or the same AI would be able to eliminate any biases, any outliers, and come up with quantitative uh, mm, results that are supplied by qualitative interviews, which is awesome if that could happen. However, it's not as easy as that, of course.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective. So it does sound like AI is moving towards an assisting rather than replacing phase, at least for now.
Mhm.
And yeah, we if we look at industries where automation has replaced roles like entirely, like manufacturing or logistics, isn't it only a matter of time before AI surpasses the researchers?
Yes and no. Probably it will surpass them in specific tasks, specific capabilities. At the end of the day, those machines still don't comprehend humans that well. And we need to remember that the AI that changed the whole scope, the whole landscape, is nothing more. I mean, this sounds benign, but at the end of the day, we are dealing with a glorified text predictor. There isn't real reasoning there. The text has no understanding of what it wrote. It's just very good at predicting answers. It's like talking to a book that writes itself, but only it can only draw from other books. So there is no originality, no real creativity in those.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's some layered information that's there, something that's hinted that people will pick up on and AI won't, there's still a lot of places for us to work on. And I think that once the grunt work can be replaced with AI, we'll have gigantic space for this creativity, for being unique, for being crazy even and trying new things. We will no longer need to play it safe because AI will do the safe work for us and we'll be left to be human, to understand each other and create better things together.
Yeah, and that brings me to the next question because you argue that AI lacks human empathy, right? So, which is critical for qualitative research, like interviews. But what if AI develops emotional intelligence? Would you then trust AI to conduct user research?
I
Specifically,
would probably do, but
mhm.
would the users trust enough to share what they would like to share? You, for me, it's always a great case study of automated cashiers that when I saw them first time, that I don't have to interact with another person to buy goods, and I can scan them myself, and I can just go to the shop, scan it, and leave. I thought I will never need to go to the cashier ever again.
Mhm.
And then I started using it. And we all have been there. We all saw when it can be very irritating when it speaks to you in a very like commanding way. We me and my wife, especially, I think in Carrefour, it was that we had a machine that was almost shouting at us, and we were like, "Okay, please, no, no, I'll pay. Please, don't hurt me." Of course, joking at it, but it shouted the commands one after the other. And then you want to scan your apple and you don't know which one of the 10 types of apples do you have in your hand. And then something moved and the weight was off. And like the new problems that appeared with this approach made it so a lot of people came back to the human cashiers, including myself. And I have 2 free products that have barcodes visible easily. I will just scan them. If I have a full cart of stuff and I really don't want to deal with the issues that automated cashiers will present, I will go to the human being operated one, despite my initial happiness that I don't have to do that. And now I do it with pleasure when I'm in a situation because I know that I'll be served well with no machine conditioned stuff. Of
With
course, this is not LLMs, of course, but I think this is a similar case where there's initially hype, there's
Mhm.
initial like benefit, then we start to discover what's wrong with it and the things that we can't easily overcome without sci-fi level ingenuity, and then we start to settle down on a status quo where some of the old solutions remain, some of the new solutions appeared, and we live in a brave new world.
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn didn't kill job bots. Streaming didn't kill vinyls and CDs. In fact, there was a year where vinyls had their best sales in ages. Streaming, okay, probably starts to kill the DVD industry, but it's still the same people benefiting from it, and it's not that big of a deal. But we have streaming, we have CDs, we have vinyls, we have AI music, and we still listen to the radio or in our cars, in our barber shops. So there is there probably isn't a situation ever where a new technology comes and absolutely trumps the old one to the point of extinction, unless it's a medicine for for a disease. But in technological sense, there will be appreciation and use cases for the older tech that will justify its still being. And though people represent the old tech here, we still will have just great partners to be more efficient with, to help us do fewer groundwork, and to be there when AI is not a partner for our users. I can imagine building products for elderly where they will simply say, I don't trust a machine, I want to talk to a human being. Just like when we talk to
Yeah.
chatbots, when we send emails to customer support, but in the end, we just want to grab the phone and call someone who will treat us with empathy and real human, like a real human, and potentially help us, right?
Yeah.
And no levels of technology stacked on top of one another that's supposed to prevent us from actually calling will be at many cases effective in this process. And
Mm-hmm.
in fact, it will cause frustration that I can't easily find a way to talk to a human being about my problem, which is always unique, and I am very special and I need an intervention.
Yeah, that's a valid concern, but I want to bring up a also a recent cultural example, a movie. Have you seen the new movie called Companion? It
No.
shows it shows like a future where AI companions develop emotional intelligence that feels
Hmm.
identical to human connection. So if AI can eventually recognize micro expressions, modulate tone based on user sentiment, and even comfort people in distress, wouldn't it be able to build trust in user interviews?
Sometimes it doesn't matter if you are kind, you have the right empathy, use the right words. If there is bias, there's bias. There
Mm-hmm.
will be people who won't talk to Muslims. There will be people who will don't want women to attend to their problems, and there'll still be people who want to talk to AI. So
Yeah.
that I don't know how many of us will be like that. It might be mm, a small minority which will basically mean that everybody talks to AI, and there will be, or there can be such a mistrust that you have to still accommodate for people who don't want to talk to the uncanny valley digital human lookalike.
Yeah. There will always be something like fundamentally human that AI just can't replicate, right?
Yeah, and regardless of the micro expression, I recently interacted with a product called Bordy, which is basically an AI bot that calls you, talks about you, and wants to know about your career. And the conversation was really human-like. The the bot could have been mistaken for for a human, but it still was like too enthusiastic, too happy to talk to you. It was like watching a corporate video where everyone is the happiest in their company and nothing can go wrong. Oh, Judy, I'm so happy you wrote that report. Does it have all the Excel rows that I require, right? That was this like, okay, we don't, nobody talks like this, like chill bot, right? And just that is already like, oh my god, it's an AI. Like at the end of the day, we are biological human beings that want connection, real connection. We want to live in our herds, eat bananas together, go on the top of tree together, and AI can't do it for us. As the moment we know we're not talking to a real human, the approach will likely change 180. Just like when you pick up the phone, you hear a nice voice, you talk to this voice, you recognize that this is uh, fraud call, or like someone tries to sell you something, and you uh, disconnect immediately without even saying goodbye. Even not to AI, now to the real human being who's just tasked to do their call sales quota. And I think that similar mechanism can easily happen when we ask AI to do our user research and think that they can totally replace human beings. They will help us to do much work to
Yeah,
extend that. But
exactly.
it's unrealistic to think that it will be able to do it all on autopilot anytime soon.
Yeah,
And I'm really looking forward to seeing the researcher from OpenAI on uh, live to play around with it to see if it's really producing quality research, or is it just like a shallow googling where it looks good, it looks professional, it looks wise, but when a specialist looks into it, there will be a lot of small details and kinks that will make it a very medium or poor piece of work just because AI doesn't know or have access to secured software that is needed in such use case. For example, if you would like to have an AI lawyer has to have paid access to an actual archive of uh, judicial processing, the sentencing, the um, past court cases. And unless the archive is open to AI, then any research done based on simple Googling will be high school level or like first year law student good at best, right? And that's not good enough when it comes to clients, when it comes to complicated cases. And I even know a lawyer that says that the AI usage is great to streamline creating templates and documents for clients, which saves that lawyer like hours of work. So people are happy; they get their papers written in 5-10 minutes, and because the lawyer is a lawyer, the lawyer can tell that it's good or not. But when it comes to actual cases, it's terrible, right?
yeah,
you You'd probably need the software that create that the archive to create that AI as a specialized use case. And is it in their interest to create it? Time will show.
yeah. Coming back to our user researchers, your article talks about how AI can take user research to a whole new level, right? But do
Mhm.
you think there is a risk that AI-driven research could make all products feel the same, losing some like cultural and contextual differences? If you think so, how can we avoid that?
I think that if this happens, that will be a short stage. Because in the end, you can only build great products if you build them for users. So it's if you start to go into biases that are wrong or create an average product, we will start to see average ratings and get average sales. And you don't want that. In the world where every piece of software has at least a few competitors and every successful product will have a Asian written a copycat within weeks or months, the only thing you can do to stand out is to choose your niche and obsess over clients as much as you can. So unless we still have users as they are, as they need, at the forefront, no bias AI will create products that will be successful in the long run. That what you describe, I think, may happen, as I said, for a moment. But the moment we realize that this is not the way to build success, the AI will have to change, or we'll have to abandon the AI agents that were created for this reason because they simply don't work. The whole point of discovery is to discover what user want. If we didn't discover it and we discovered some uh, generic advice, that means we have wasted our time, even if we did 50 times the regular amount of work we could without AI.
Yeah, that's reassuring, I guess. But I can't help but think about how these recommendation algorithms have already homogenized digital experiences. Like, think about how Spotify playlists start sounding the same, or how social media feeds reinforce existing preferences. So, if AI is dictating research insights at scale, what safeguards should we have to ensure it doesn't create this one size fits all user experience that lacks cultural, let's say, cultural depth?
That's a good question. I don't think I have a good answer. I can see what you mean by creating bubbles on internet because of the algorithms. But in the end, it's about putting together people who have similar views, who want, they don't know it, but they actually want to be in those groups. So they are sort of tending to user needs, even if we find that bad in the long run, even if we discover that we are more likely to engage with controversial, scary, frightening, macabre content. That's still a twisted version of user centricity. That's creating a product that sells. If we go to the route where you propose that biases AI always like suggest the same thing all over again, I don't think it will work in this specific use case the same way it did in social networks. The the good example here is super apps in Asia that were able to pop up there and basically put everything together under a single app, which was not successful to replicate in the West, because we like our apps to be dedicated to attend to one task very well, and usually those one purpose built apps have been polishing the experience and the solution for years now, so they are very, very good at what they do. And even if AI started producing products that are all the same, it probably still stick to the ones that we like, the ones that were built for purpose, uniquely with user insights, and there simply will be no success with boring. That's
Yeah.
or generic. Yeah.
And how about the biased data? Like, if AI agents take over the majority of user research, how do we
Mhm.
ensure that they are not just reinforcing biases found in existing data sets? Do we risk AI optimizing for the wrong user behaviors simply because they are statistically dominant?
Well, that's where we come in. That's why I propose we keep the human researchers to be the guardrail, to be the second opinion, to check for those biases and reinforce the positive feedback loop, to make sure that if this happens, you prevent it into the future, or you try to improve the AI to be wary of such biases that to avoid. And uh, it all depends on the time and focus, because right now user research can be biased towards data just because there's limited time to bring results. There is pressure to do new research, so you go with the biases because this is the easy way to go. But
Mhm.
if you had time, you can go deep into the data, see if there's something wrong, see if there's something that doesn't feel right, or an important insight that feels insignificant math wise, but is actually uncovering something very important. So that's that human element, that all purpose brain, rather than relying on a text predictor to do the work for you.
Yeah. My last question, Bart, is about Satya Nadella's vision that you mentioned in your article,
Mhm.
about UI-less softwares, where AI directly interacts with code to execute tasks. So, if this vision becomes reality, how do you see the role of designers and product managers changing in a world where AI dictates UX decisions?
Well, it sounds like we all will simply build interfaces that are prompt builders, that help us to make sure that once we communicate with those AI agents, we get what we actually want, and they help us to consider things that we would not consider in our simple talk. Imagine you go to travel agents. You tell them, I want to go to Egypt for cheap. Okay, do you want to have a seaside view? Are you okay with this? Are you okay with that? And all of those questions are built to build a perfect offer. If they wouldn't ask the follow-ups, they will just here are three offers, choose one. Then you'd probably not have a very good holiday on such a uh, such a scenario. Sorry, it's a that late for me. So yeah, that's how I think about it. To help the user to get what the user wants, and like the paradox of it is that if we envision this like UI to get AI agents to do the work for us, we already say that the SaaS sort of survives, and rather an AI agent just replaces the backend. Really, all the logic, all the scripts just become, uh, let's call it semi-sentient person that does the work for you, rather than rely on strict if then, or if else, if else, if else, etc., etc. So we are sort of moving to this very funny twist on the Flintstones world, where they would, I don't know, push a button on a stone device to make themselves a picture, and there would be a parrot inside that would actually do the picture, right,
Yeah.
manually.
Mhm.
So this is how the SaaS would actually operate, in a way, if we would go to that AI-less future. There will be still limited AI to interact with the user, but the
Mhm.
backend would be just AI and not predefined code that follows certain logic, or limited logic in to put guardrails on what the AI can do and where it can communicate with.
Yeah, I guess if UI becomes less relevant and AI just understands what users need, I guess that means the role of UX designers and product managers will shift from creating experiences to curating AI driven ones, right? And that makes these roles like more strategic and less creative, I guess, in the future. So I think, yeah, this has been a really engaging discussion, Bart. It's clear that AI is reshaping user research, but we still have more questions than answers about its long term impact. Um, I think we covered all the questions. I appreciate your insights, and I'm excited to see how this space evolves in the coming years. Do you want to add anything before we wrap up?
Maybe don't be afraid of AI.
Mhm.
Uh, we don't know what will happen. Maybe we peaked and everything that happens will just be a slightly better iteration. Maybe NGI will never come. Maybe we just are looking into the future where we won't be replaced, but all the boring stuff we do will be replaced. Where rather than work 8 hours a day, we can afford to work 3 hours a day and have enormous output. I mean, I just watched a video yesterday where it turned out that a transformer AI type managed to solve like millions of protein combinations that potentially can help us very soon cure cancer, clean the air from pollution, and do so many different stuff that I started to believe in humankind again. Before Brexit, I thought, because for me, Brexit started a chain of events that made the world less safe and less wise and more stupid, frankly. But before that, I had a feeling we are going to like an utopia, Star Trek future. And now with AI, I think that we might be back on that direction as long as the politicians don't meddle too much.
True. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Bart. I'll let you head backstage for now. Thanks again for being here.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, big thanks to everyone for tuning in to today's PITT interview. I hope you found this conversation as insightful and exciting as I did because we are just getting started. We have got 2 live interviews every week this month, and I am gonna drop the link in the chat right now. 1 second. Okay, here is the link to register. So don't miss out. There is so much more to dive into. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you at the next one. Until then, take care, everyone.